For the last century, we have relentlessly perfected the art of mass production. Factories and algorithms manufacture flawless goods with incredible speed and exact precision. On a purely economic basis, spending a weekend knitting a sweater or building a dining table by hand is entirely obsolete. A machine will always produce a cheaper, more consistent version. Yet pottery studios have months-long waitlists, millions cultivate sourdough starters at home, and a digital generation restores furniture. If the math of manual labor makes absolutely no financial sense, but human beings actively seek it out, we must be deriving a psychological benefit from manufacturing that has nothing to do with physical output. This chart illustrates the IKEA effect. It compares the low market value of a mass-produced item to the higher subjective value assigned by its assembler. This physical effort artificially inflates the object's worth. That gap is value generated purely by human exertion. This completely breaks traditional economic models, which assume that rational actors always want to maximize their reward while minimizing their effort. It turns out that friction, frustration, and manual labor are not bugs to be optimized out of our routines. They are cognitive features we actively crave. The legacy of the Industrial Revolution left us with a sharp societal divide: blue-collar workers laboring with their hands and white-collar workers laboring with their minds. But neurologists document a different reality. They study procedural memory, a category of knowledge stored directly in the physical tensions of muscle and tendon, bypassing the prefrontal cortex entirely. An experienced woodworker cutting a joint doesn't consciously calculate the geometry each time. They adjust instantly to physical feedback loops, a slight change in the pitch of a hand plane or a hidden knot in the wood grain. Making is thinking. Manual craft demands an intense, real-time level of cognitive processing, erasing the artificial wall between physical and intellectual labor. We spend most of our working hours in frictionless digital environments, scrolling through infinite feeds with highly fractured attention. But a chisel cutting into dense oak physically pushes back. Physical materials demand absolute presence. If your mind wanders to a different tab, the clay wall thins and collapses, or the bread dough overproofs and falls flat. Austrian psychiatrist Viktor Frankl recognized the importance of this rigid engagement in the 1930s. He observed that unemployed workers, stripped of their daily physical tasks, quickly lost their sense of a future and purpose. Frankl noted that work provides time structure. It organizes a disordered mind by imposing a clear beginning, middle, and end to the day. When the brain is overwhelmed by digital abstraction or burnout, the exacting rules of physical craft serve as a necessary therapy. They force the mind to organize itself through the hands. This psychological reliance on human effort dictates how we buy, too. Consumer researchers measure creator salience, the phenomenon where a buyer's intent surges simply by making them aware of the human narrative behind a product's creation. At the absolute peak of the luxury market, consumers are no longer paying for utility. They are purchasing the documented story of an artisan wrestling with raw materials. The Japanese aesthetic of wabi-sabi assigns high value to exactly this process. A lopsided rim or an uneven glaze is kept intact because it records a highly specific moment of human intervention. In an economy saturated with flawless, infinitely scalable AI-generated designs, a visible human mistake serves as the ultimate proof of authenticity and value. This personal hunger for tangible effort is scaling up into the maker movement, an entire subculture prioritizing democratized fabrication and shared knowledge over passive consumption. Grassroots makerspaces are taking over underutilized urban areas and post-industrial factories, creating new jobs and injecting economic resilience into hollowed-out cities. We have lived through this exact pushback before. In the late 19th century, figures like William Morris launched the arts and crafts movement as a direct rebellion against the suffocating uniformity of the Industrial Revolution. The resurgence of craft today is a highly predictable societal diagnosis. It surfaces whenever our daily environment becomes too abstracted, optimized, and detached from physical reality. An algorithm can generate a perfectly uniform design, and a robotic arm can weld a flawless seam in seconds. Perfection is cheap. True worth now lives in variation, the unique, irreplaceable intersection of a specific human body, working on a specific piece of material on a specific day. In an era engineered to eliminate friction, making things with our hands remains our most powerful tool to leave a tangible, lasting record of our attention and our existence.